Hey, sexy squad, welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy you're here. I love you guys. Okay, so I just wanted to generally talk today a little bit about how the smear campaign continues. It continues forever against Meghan Markle. I mean, I think when Meghan Markle set herself aside as an individual, a creative person, deep down in her heart, someone who is spiritual and kind, who's an optimist, and society really doesn't love optimists so much. But when she set herself apart as that, and daring to be a person of color, and daring to marry into the royal family, Lord, she developed herself some trolls and some haters for the rest of her life. But what do you got to do? You got to make your haters your motivators. And to my absolute bewilderment, this smear campaign is ever turning. I mean, never ending, ever turning, ever growing, ever expanding out of the UK. As a fellow Anglophone, I can kind of understand it. I can't, you know what, I take that back. Looking at what has happened in my country with the presidential election and Fox and all these far-right pundits and even that being exported to Australia through Sky News and, Britain through places like, Good Morning Britain or whatever. I mean, I guess I can get it. That toxic tabloid media smear that just continues. And then you have like the lower rung of that, those channels where we said like, Royal News Daily and all that, royal gossip. I guess America has the same thing, these, I guess the version of that would be all these random far right podcasts, men and women who are pumping this stuff out. But she is still getting this smear. So let's look at some of this. But I have to add, through all of that, and I'm going to make this video short, through all of that, her and her husband are radiating joy. And that is what I love. It's like the smear is continuing to roll, but through all, and that's what you got to do in life. I mean, as you get older, that's really what you find out. Especially if you're an empath, if you are someone who is committed to your faith or an optimist and someone who likes to see the glass half full in life, you do eventually find that society really doesn't go that way. Society really goes the other way. It's like, society is actually really negative in many ways. And they don't present themselves that way. The successes really have committed themselves to service and their own personal well-being, because how are they going to continue their service if they're not well? So that's something I really respect about them. So let's unpack this a little bit more. So there's an article from Celeb Bitchy. It says, according to Eden, Prince Harry and Meghan are going their separate ways professionally. This is from September 26th. So it says, Prince Harry conducted a lot of important business in New York this week, highlighting the work of the Halo Trust, Archewell, the Parents Network, Sent to Ballet, African Parks, Travelist, and more. Trying to keep up with his schedule, I understood why he went solo for the New York trip. I think this is Kaiser. So it was mostly about that side of things, his patronages, his charities, his issue profile. This hasn't stopped the British media from amplifying their own theories. We know about their theories, right? About why Harry's solo trip is indicative of the Sussexes' separate lives. Does that sound familiar, guys? Like, y'all know when I found out about the Sussex stuff and I found out about Meghan Markle, all the grief she was receiving, that I had to like step in and I had to look at some of this. I guess I developed some of these celebrities that I do see are trolled frequently. Meghan Markle is one of them. I think you guys seen some of my videos on Amber Heard, Selena Gomez. There's a few of them. I'm like, oh, I gotta step in and defend the underdog. Not to say that all of those are underdogs in every respect, but whatever. And the thing that I take from this is how the British tabloid media, and some of our media as well, some of the U.S. media, takes Prince Harry, just that simple notion of him doing some solo projects, which Archewell is not solo. That's clearly both he and Meghan. But they take that And they spin that into, oh, they're obviously living separate lives. Obviously, he's living in a totally different house, and they're going to get, like, you see what I'm saying? I'm being sarcastic here, obviously. They're a very loving couple. Nothing else points to that, but that they're a very loving couple. But this monster that exists is like, oh, they're living separate lives. So I have another one for you. Obviously, all unfounded. So, apparently, this was from Celebrity also. Apparently, when Prince William was, I think he was in South Africa, and he was, you guys have probably heard about this, those of you who follow Sussex family stuff a lot. Other of my followers, you probably don't know as much about, you know, this whole world exists. But Prince William was holding a jam in South Africa, and it wasn't the jam that Meghan Markle, her jam company, it wasn't from that company. And somehow that tabloid media took that and interpreted it to mean, oh my God, he's holding a jam that's totally a diss against the Sussexes, you know, and blah, 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 blah. The last one, you know, just to show that this smear is never ending. And of course, we know half of this is they're taking Meghan Markle's name and they're using it for clickbait. And they also, it's that thing earlier where we talked about she's a charismatic, light, you know, joyful, optimistic figure. She happens to be a brown woman. And so that's that added layer of hate, right? It says, is Prince Harry genuinely at risk of being deported by a second Trump administration? So that's what the media is talking about as well. Oh, Prince Harry's going to get deported, which, you know, there is, what is it called? There is, an organization, a far-right organization in the UK that's very similar to the US's Heritage Foundation, very far-right. And they have been seething with, like, desire for Prince Harry to be deported. Like, this would be, like, their wet dream. So anyway, that's, and I love Celebrity, and I look at that stuff frequently and other, like, little spaces within the internet, Twitter and threads and things like that, for people who are really Sussex Squad, and they're following more closely how, and even, like, some of the influencer channels, like here on YouTube, about Sussexes, of like, they're on top of it, you know, they're on top of what the corrupt stuff that the tabloid media is doing. But you'll actually find with the mainstream media, they barely talk about all of these attacks. Like, there's no other way to describe this other than attacks. They just take something and they go 15 million miles. But I will say, I also follow People a lot, People Mag, and People Mag is very good about reporting about the positive things. So, okay, maybe the mainstream media, we have to go and look to our inside sources of Sussex Squad space for the bad things, so we know what's going on and we can talk against it. But then people, I do think People Mag does a good job of actually following the positive. So there was one thing, Oprah said that one of her most favorite things is a gift that Meghan Markle gave her. And I think that gift really points to how much of a sweet soul she is. So this is from People Mag. It says, Oprah Winfrey includes a gift from Meghan Markle in her annual favorite things list. And this is from Rachel Birchfield, November 4th, 2024. It says, Meghan Markle made the cut for Oprah Winfrey's annual favorite things list. The Duchess of Sussex, 43, is both friends with and a neighbor of Oprah Winfrey. Winfrey's annual gift guide, which has been in existence since the days of her former talk show, she noted on how a body care set gifted to her by Meghan was, and this is what she said, this is a favorite, she had to say it 2 times, favorite thing, with the scent of a forest sent to me by my neighbor Meghan. Okay, so let me just say this real quick, and I wish I could smell it, you know, it probably costs more than, like, you know, my rent did this month. But I wish I could smell that forest, because I bet it smells so good. I love, like, aromatherapy stuff, and I feel like it's really healing for the soul. I wish I could smell that. That's the exact type of thing that I would do for a friend, that some of my friends would do for me. I mean, of course, things like electronics or, you know, whatever, coupons to a hip restaurant or whatever could be great, you know, but you even saw, like, For example, Drake sent DJ Khaled a very cool robotic toilet, you know, like, of course those things of the rich and famous are great, but the fact that Meghan just sent her like this forest scented body works is like, I love it so much. And you know, I think we also had to look at this beautiful coalition that's sprung up between Oprah and Meghan, and even just this coalition that sprung up recently where you saw Beyonce's mom. Beyonce supported Kamala Harris's campaign. I think that this is the time where Black women and women of color are realizing that there is a smear out there to really separate and divide us, and so many people are rejecting that, specifically Black women and women of color, and coming together, and I just love that. I love that so much. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing I saw in People Mag, where this was a little bit ago, Meghan said that she's in her chapter of joy. Okay, she's in her chapter of joy. So this is an article from People. It's also from Rachel Birchfield. And this is from back in August. And it says, on the final day of her 4-day tour of Colombia with Prince Harry, Meghan Markle called this stage of her life chapter of joy. Meghan, 43, took part in the Afro-descended Women and Power Voices of Equity. What did I just say, y'all? What did I just say? Summit in August 18th, where she spotlighted Afro-Colombian women leaders speaking out about the challenges of their faces of racism, gender bias, and other issues. So listen to these quotes, guys. So, the more that you are able to look at your life and really truly recognize that if you're going to be grateful for your life, you have to be grateful for all aspects of it. The parts that were opportunities for growth and may have felt really difficult, as well as the parts that feel inspiring, joyful, and full. Okay? She added, continuing, she added, my intentionality is to enjoy this chapter and to be able to move through every piece of that as best as I can. She went on to say, because we are in your country, again, they're in Colombia, they were in Colombia, my husband and I can feel this embrace from Colombia, and it's incredible. Points back to how they are the people prince and princess, you know, and they always show that joy and gratitude, you know, they stay humble. The culture, the history, all of it was a dream. The trip was a dream. She goes on to say, I was very, very fortunate that at a young age to feel as though my voice was being heard. And I think that's a luxury that a lot of girls and women aren't often afforded. She goes on to say, for us and the work that we do with Archewell Foundation, and certainly the work we do as parents, as I do as a mother, and is ensuring that young girls feel as though their voices are being heard, and also that young boys are being raised to listen and to hear those young women as well. Guys, I mean, it's so good. So, going down. I find inspiration in the strong women around me. What did I just say about Oprah, about Beyonce, about Kamala Harris? Of course, my mother being one of them. Love Doria. So much of how I express, how I approach things is through the lens of less about the fight. That's not interesting to me. And more about how do we show up in a space and wash things over with love and kindness and generosity. Meghan added that she understood what it was like to not use her voice, to suffer, we know that was what happened in the UK, to suffer in silence, or even just in silence, or even just sit in silence, if in those moments you want to be heard, or if you have something to say. She spoke about encouraging her daughter to find her voice. And she said she and Prince Harry, she said we, but I assume she's talking about she and Prince Harry are so proud of that. And she expanded on how it's important for women to feel relaxed in their own skin. She expanded upon how Colombia was beautiful and congratulated them. But I just had to get in here and shine a light on that, you know, like, while this never-ending smear is happening in toxic media across the world, international, but very much in Prince Harry's home country, you know, because I think they're very much still jaded that they left. While this But it's happening in the US, it's happening everywhere. While that smear is continuing to go, and it is rooted in racism. Don't mistake yourself. And it's rooted in sexism as well. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are still doing the work. So I want to know what you guys think about that. I love that so much. I love when the underdog wins. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Again, if you're new here, I would love to have you join this growing community. So hit the like, subscribe button, hit that bell, join the community, comment, interact with the channel, all that stuff. So we talk about everything here. We talk about pop culture and motivation, politics, uplifting stuff. Honey child, everything. This is the real Najwa. So you get me. We talk about all types of stuff. So I would love to have you join. And with that being said, I will see you guys next time. I love you. Okay, catch you soon. Bye.